Improving mindsets, media expert, Kupola Jadesola. Trying to educate minds, trying to make us a better version of ourselves as always. So, today we're just going to jump right into it. So, this is the third part of our, developing inquiry habits, developing critical thinking skills. So we're developing habits of inquiry and reflection, okay, when it comes to media messages, when it comes to how we imbibe media messages, how it influences us, and what to do about that, how to avoid the negative and stick to the positive. And because most of the time the negative is not presented as negative, it's often presented even as positive. So being able to decipher that and being able to deconstruct these messages in order to avoid being negatively influenced by them. So that is the end goal of everything we're trying to do here. But 2 weeks we started this series, so we're going to continue with the third part, critical thinking questions, right? Critical thinking questions to ask when dissecting media messages. Now, like I said before, for more to know more about that, you can check out some of my other videos or visit my website www.worldmedialiteracy.wordpress.com to find out more about that, to become more media literate, become more enlightened. So there are different sections to this, right? So we're gonna just have like a brief continuation, because like I said, I would not like these videos to be more than 15 to 30 minutes, so you can digest certain things and not just have all the information at one time, so you can digest it bit by bit. So under context, we're under context now. So we've answered 2 questions under context in the last video, so we're going to continue with the third question. Now, how does this reinforce or counter cultural norms? How does this reinforce or counter cultural norms? Now, when we are, imbibing media messages, we often, are dealing with media that is directly related to our environment. Most of the time, if we're watching the news, for example, we're watching news that, relates directly to our environment, relates directly to, our nation, our state. Sometimes we might watch international news, but not with all the, seriousness or attention that we might pay to local news, because, it is pertaining our culture. And also when it comes to media that has to do with entertainment, you find a lot of messages. Now remember that the point of this is to be able to detect the negative ones, because media on its own is neutral, right? So it's what you use it for. It's the messages embedded within it that make it either good or bad. So you need to be able to decipher what sort of norms are this. And besides, cultural norms are the things that we live by as a society, are the things that we accept as normal as a society. And really, what the basis of that, of any law, of any norm, should be: is it societally benefiting or not? Is it helping our society become better or not? So, and if it's not, then it should not be a norm. If it's not, then it should be countered, it should be annihilated, so to speak. So, these media message that, whichever one you might be dissecting at that time, remember, these are questions you need to ask as you are dissecting media messages, so to understand them better. So, for example, if you're watching a movie at that time or listening to a song at that time, how does this reinforce or counter cultural norms? How is this reflecting something that is seen as normal in our society, or how is this countering something that we see as normal in our society? Is the replacement better or worse? Is the reinforcement, aiding a better mentality or a worse mentality? So, are the cultural norms that are being counted, are they norms that actually help us, or norms that need to be replaced in the first place? So, there are different, variations to that question. But the bottom line is to be able to reflect on how this reinforces or counters any norm, anything that you might view as normal, anything that you might view as or feel like it's normal. Okay, so how does this do that? Now, moving on to the next question on the context. How does the technology or media forum impact the message? How does the technology or media forum, whether social media, print, TV, etc., YouTube, all sorts, how does this impact the message? Okay, and technology and media, of course, you should, if you're watching my video, so you should know that. And if you're new, welcome. You know, you should know that technology and media go hand in hand. Like, it is the same. Like, there's no media without technology. Every single media forum that you have, it is simply tied to the advancement of technology. So they work hand in hand. So how do these technological outputs, how do these forums, how do they impact the message? Because Marshall McLuhan said something. He said, the media is the massage, okay? Like, instead of the media is the message, the media is a massage, which is to reflect the importance of what is actually carrying the message over the message, okay? Because he also said, I said something I would like to point out, that to view a media forum as not influencing the media message is the stance of the technological idiot, is what he said. I'm actually just repeating his words, because yes, and it's absolutely true, actually, because you cannot say that the forum by which you are receiving the message does not influence your reception of the message. That's a lie. Subconsciously it does. I'm just going to be using two examples of this. Now, social media for one. Now, the thing with social media and with most media generally is that people automatically assume that what they see on it is true, that what they see on it is real, okay? And that is, really where the trap has been very well laid, because, they view all these things as accurate, they view it as right, as cool, as trendy, and they feel the need to emulate it, not really thinking about whether it is beneficial for them or not really thinking about whether it is profitable or even sensible or not, but they, just they feel the need to emulate it because they think it's trendy and it's cool, but it's actually the subconscious conditioning that they're not very well aware of, so. And using TV as another example, like I said, most media, what we see, we tend to view it as real. But when it comes to television, at least there is still some variety to that. For example, if an adult watching an advert, not a child now, because children under the age of, children under the age of 8 cannot really differentiate between advertising and reality. So when they're watching an advert on TV, it actually seems real to them. Their brain cannot make that difference yet. So, when it comes to an adult watching a TV advert, of course knows that it's an advert and knows that the end game of the product is to make you buy more. But there's also a subconscious conditioning. There's a reason why they're able to get so many people to buy so many things that they don't need, because they appeal to their emotions. They make it seem so attractive and they appeal to their emotions, not really, making them think about whether it is logical to get or do that thing, but just to appeal to their emotions, make them like it, so to speak. So, there are, quite a lot of ways in which the technological forum impacts the message, and, I think for you to understand this more, because I cannot make you fully media literate, that we'll have to go through social coding for that. And that is not something that can be done here, but there are certain things that you can do also. There are certain things you can do on your own, which is, part of why we're having this, forum to educate you. But also you can read this book called The Shallows, What the Internet is Doing to Our Brains. It's also called The Shallows. Just read that. Read The Disappearance of Childhood. Also it links to technology and media forums also. Read, what do you call it? Sorry, I'm gonna remember that book, and I'm gonna state it before the end of the video. So let's just move on to the next area that we should work on, but I'm gonna remember that for a second. Still trying to remember it, but just 1 second. Now, moving on, before we get to that, actually, Now we're moving on to the effects. The effects, how to deconstruct the effects. Remember, we're developing habits of inquiry and reflection. So these are questions to be asked when you are sorry, deconstructing a media message. These are questions to be asked when you're deconstructing a media message, any media message. Okay, right. Sorry for the break in transmission, actually. So, we're moving on to effects, right? So, when asking about the effects of a media message, the first question to ask yourself is, how does this make me feel and why? Okay, because watching some of my other videos will grant you some explanations on this, but the fact is, the point of all the negativity in the media is to change your mindset. Okay, is to change it from positive to negative. Like, that's just the simple fact about it. It's just to make you like the wrong things, to make you want the wrong things, because it's ultimately a spiritual side to this. Okay, but they are trying to construct all these things so in such a pleasing manner, in such a pleasing way, but ultimately to change your mindset for the worse. Basically trying to make everybody like the worst versions of themselves. And that's just the simple fact about it. So, you need to, and there are also certain people that are, targeted. Certain media messages are targeted, some are general, but really, I don't have the time to explain all of that. You can go back to some of my other videos to find out more. But, for this, how does this make me feel and why? So if you're watching a movie now, for example, and it, constructs a scene. I remember all media messages are intentionally constructed. Okay, they are made by people intentionally to send you a particular message. Okay, it's not just an accident or by mistake. Every single thing you're seeing there was put there on purpose. So, how does this make me feel and why? It could trigger, these media messages could trigger a series of emotions. Okay, and we have actually we've talked on the aspect of emotions in the other episode, of this same series, though. You know that it's media messages are often crafted to trigger emotions. 99.9 of the time, a percent of the time, they are crafted to trigger emotions. Okay, now the type of emotions is the question now, because most of the time they're often not triggering good emotions. They're triggering negative emotions. They're triggering angry, intoxicative, just negative emotions on both sides, for both genders, for races, for tribes, for whatever group you can think of. So you need to be able to, this is really a question that is particular to each person, you know, but you need to be able to reflect on why it makes you feel that way. And remember that they are intentionally trying to construct these messages because, like, I'm going to state this quote just to make you understand that these people, they are not out for your good and they don't hide what they're doing. Okay, so Sidney West said this. He said, to play on those millions of minds, to watch them slowly respond to an unseen stimulus, to guide their aspirations without their knowledge. All this, whether in great capacities or in humble, is a big and endless game of chess of ever extraordinary excitement. Okay, now that's what somebody said about the lives of millions and billions of people. Okay, now they don't hide what they're doing. Now John Kurufasi also said, I believe we are destroying the minds of America, and this has been one of my lifelong ambitions. Okay, and that's what somebody said, and it's still alive, walking freely till today. And guess what he does? He makes cartoons for children. That's what he does, and that's what he said. That's what he wants to do, to destroy the minds of America. And where do we find? Where's the origin of most of our media? America and Britain. And remember, there is no America without Britain, so they work hand in hand. So you just, there's a lot to be understood here, but they are crafting quite negative messages. So you have to be aware of how, it makes you feel, how it triggers you. If you want to, I've explained those quotes in some of my other videos actually, but like I said, this is for your education, so you can just go back to them and just view them. Okay. So now the second question on this effect is, what impact might this have on others or on society? Okay. Now this is, part of where the problem comes in, because the impact, that's really what we're dealing with here. That's what we're trying to battle here. The impact is negative. That is the problem. That is the problem. Because if it was positive, there would be no need for you to be educated. You just be imbibing it. But there's a 90 to 10 ratio. It's 90% negative, 10% positive. So it's having a quite negative effect. These movies, these songs, listen to the songs that we listen to today. Just look at their lyrics. Just absolute nonsense, absolute crap. They just say meaningless things, and they know that they can get you with the beat, so they add a good beat to it, so that you just imbibe all the garbage. Look at the movies. What sort of messages do they send in the movies? What sort of things do they try to normalize in the movies? What positive things are they really sending you? What good are they really telling you? You have to be able to decipher. Even advertising, they have subliminal messages in their advertising, often negative ones, even in the advertising. So you have to be aware that this is a global problem, by the way. This is not just about one country. This is a global problem. As long as you are imbibing media, you are affected by it. It doesn't matter what country or what race or what gender or your height or your length or it doesn't matter, nothing. As long as you're imbibing media, you're affected by it. Now, what impact might this have on society? Like I said before, it's still a negative one. It's still a negative, impact. So people need to be aware so that their minds can be equipped. Because what you do not see as an enemy, you cannot fight. What you see as your friend, a lot of people see the media as your friend. You go to the media for everything. In fact, the media will always be here, by the way. We can't get rid of the media. But just knowing the sort of influence that it has and being able to filter through the negative one so that it does not influence your mind, so that it does not pollute your mindset. That's just it. So, what impact? Often negative, so people need to be aware. And of course, this is relative to the media message you are watching at the time. Because there are some good messages out there, but it's just that, the ratio of the negative is just so much more. That's just the problem. So, the third question to ask is, who might this message benefit? Who might it benefit? Now, you will find that because this is a negative message, or most of the media messages are negative, it's affecting our society negatively. But that is still profiting some evil ones out there. Like those quotes made by those two people that I said, they are on the other end. They are constructing multiple messages for people to imbibe, knowing fully well that if they imbibe those sort of messages, it will actually be detrimental to their lives. But they are telling them to imbibe it every single day or anyhow. Look at, just even our media. Okay, I'm Nigerian, right? But even our media, like I said before, this is a global problem. This is not specific to one country. You just see so many bad role models. And okay, somebody said something. I can't remember who made this quote, but he said, I think she said that if you, it's a developmentalist that said this. Okay, and she said, if you want to destroy a country, if you want to destroy a society, there are three things to do, right? Said one, make them belittle the role of the family, especially the mother. Now, that mother was written in capital letter. Okay, make them underestimate the role of the mother, make it the role of the family as a whole, make it seem like family is not so important. Secondly, make them underestimate their teachers, make them look down at their teachers like they cannot learn anything from them, make them devalue their teachers. Thirdly, give them messed up role models, give them bad role models, give them people that are not worthy to be looked up to, but put them there. Because if they do not listen to their parents and they do not listen to their teachers, and those that they look up to are bad, then what hope does the society have? Then what are we seeing in our society today? A reflection of that. It is like somebody took those principles and then actually applied them. Because we are seeing, like a retrograde of the way things are actually supposed to be. We're seeing a retrograde of, all that makes a humane and functional and peaceful and unity-driven society. And what is causing this is the individuals. Not everybody is bad, of course not. But those that are being influenced in a negative way are becoming more and more and more because they are not even aware. It's an unseen stimulus. They think it's cool, they think it's trendy, they think it's this or that, but they're imbibing all sorts of crap. But they are doing it because they've been made to think that it's cool. They've been made to think that it's trendy. That's what they actually should do. Now, another question to ask is, who might it harm? And the only answer to that is our society. It's harming our society. This is not a yesterday problem, just something that's getting worse and worse by the day. So, and a lot of people, do you know that media literacy was actually approved since the 90s as an official subject to be taught in schools? But have you ever heard of media literacy if you're not hearing it now? There's a reason why they have kept it from you, because they know what the media can do and they want to have that full power to manipulate your mind. This is a global problem. Want to have that full power to manipulate your mind. That is simply it. They don't hide what they're doing, by the way. They don't hide it. So who might it harm? Us. If we do nothing, if we do not equip our minds, our society is being harmed, not will be harmed, is being harmed. Because the effects of this have started already. It's just simply getting worse. It's not will be. So we need to be aware. We really, really need to be aware. It's not everything that they show you in movies that you emulate, that you think is cool. Reason. It's not every song you listen to that you like automatically you start to think that whatever they say is reasonable. Most of the time it's complete garbage. Even your advertising, such negative subliminal messages, and they are not so obvious. That's just the thing. That's how they get you through all the media forums, because it's not so obvious. But you need to be aware so that you can decipher them, and it becomes something that it becomes a lifelong skill. It is a lifelong skill, and it becomes automatic to you, really. Once you are able to learn them, once you're able to learn those skills, once you're able to see through, the entire construct of the media and know how it actually works, it becomes a lifelong skill that, you will use and continually benefit from for the rest of your life. Because like I said before, these media messages are not new, but they are getting worse, and they will continue to get worse, by the way. This is not something that's going to stop. Because those that are behind it, you can't touch them basically. Only God can touch them, really, when it comes to power. This is a global problem. It's a global problem. And they don't hide what they're doing. And there's a reason why they don't hide it, because they know that there's nothing you can do. That's why they don't hide it. Look, let us be aware. The ultimate goal of this is to ruin your mindset. Okay? So at least with all this, of course, implementing these questions, and of course also knowing to keep your mind in the right place, knowing to keep your mind in the right setting. You have a conscience for a reason. Do not imbibe negative things simply because they're making you think it's cool, simply because they're making you, look at it as cool, or they are presenting it to you in a cool way. Do not imbibe negativity. So, next week we'll have another episode, and of course more enlightenment, more knowledge. So, but there's quite a lot to dissect here. So, but we'll be going through it bit by bit, and we'll get there. So, have a wonderful week, guys. Till next time, keep reading. By the way, you need to read. Do not let your mind lie dormant. Keep reading, guys. Bye.